Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Feeling a lot better than I did last night. I actually took some time to relax today, so I'm glad to be here. Ofer Niv is our guest tonight on the show. We're going to talk about shamanic healing, remote viewing, and so much more. I'm excited to have him. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it as well. But before we bring Ofer onto the show, let's say hello to each and every one of you. We got Race Fan in the gold medal position, SJ with a silver, Kitty Caddywhack with a bronze medal tonight. Robert Lamoth, Bar Madison, Road Flare, and Major Lee. How you doing? Major Lee will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Eternity Eternal, Invisible Tracker, Dragonfly, Necessary Dialogue, and Joanne. Good to have you all here. Let's say hello to Gory Tiger. And let's see who else is next on our list. Susan, how are you? Ethanol, good to see you. So we continue on with our roll call here. Frankie B. and Human Carl is here, a great veteran of the United States Air Force. We love you, Human Carl. Thank you for your service. Scrolling on down. Shelly, how you doing? Shelly will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Hi there, Fast Hemi. Number 46 in your program, starting in goal tonight from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. Operation Shutdown. Kevin Kennedy, good to have you here. Walter Kochabinski, good to see you. Noble Patrick, thanks for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call. Mel WD40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. You don't want that rigidness when you're remote viewing or even talking about it. So thank you, Mel, for lubing us up tonight. Scrolling on down, we say hello next to Millennium, my man. Thanks for coming on in. Hi there, Sierra. Nice to see you. Rock and Rory, good to have you here. Al Garay over on Twitch. Bench press 350 pounds 14 times to get ready for tonight's show. He's jacked. He's ready to listen on in. Phil the Stalker, nice to see you. Lee the Bee, thank you for coming on in. As we continue on with our roll call here, Jay Truth Seeker, good to see you as well. Thank you for coming on in. Christine Lynn, thank you for joining us tonight. Big J 21, nice to have you here. As we continue on with our roll call over on X, we have I'm Hardcore. He's getting those autographs, as you can tell right there. Got to get those autographs. Absolutely. They're ready to sign after the show. All right. Lisa Smith, thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate that. And who else is here? Let's say hello next to Tim Mothman and his goatee. Two separate entities. Really appreciate that, Tim. Can't wait to see Tim at our gathering in Vegas, May 1st to 5th, where we're all hanging out and partying. Remember, if you come to Vegas and join us, Tim Mothman will let you have one free goatee tug. One free goatee tug. That's right. Javier, Crypted 559, how you doing, brother? Flubber Lane, nice to see you. As we continue on with our roll call, let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We are talking everything from shamanic healings to remote viewing, spirituality, everything. Ofer Niv is our guest tonight on the show. It's going to be a great show for you to tune on in. We are in our roll call on YouTube right now as the super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, as well. You can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Philip Miller, how are you? Babylon Rose, nice to see you. As people continue coming on in, I want to remind everybody, I will be in San Francisco for UFOCon 2025, the first weekend of April. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th. I'd love to see you there. Go to UFOCon2025.com and get your tickets today. And come meet me. Come hang out with me in San Fran. Once again, we're getting ready to start the show. It's going to be a great one. And I ask all of you at this time to do me a favor. Throw those horns up. Let's rock. Of Central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of broadcast behind the newswire. Check out our site as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% healthier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Have a great show tonight, talking shamanism, talking remote healing. Ofer Niv is our guest tonight on the show. I know you're going to enjoy him. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off. Then Robin Haynes will have a Q&A on the Crypted report. Let's just get right into it. All right. Ofer Niv is a transformational healer, mentor, and guide who specializes in shamanic energy work that addresses the physical, emotional, and spiritual layers of being. Oh, I need some of that right now. I do. Ofer has well over a decade of experience. He blends ancient wisdom, the mysticism of the Kabbalah, and shamanic practices, helping his clients resolve deep-seated issues and transform their lives at the core. Once again, flush me, Ofer. Flush me out. Born and raised in kibbutz in Israel, Ofer served as an army commander in the Israeli army and studied philosophy and math before moving to the United States. He studied computer science at UCLA and then worked for more than 20 years as a senior manager in IT at Wells Fargo. Ofer's mission is to empower individuals to transcend their limitations, unlock their highest potential, and cultivate a deeper connection with their inner selves and the universe. If that doesn't get you going, I don't know what will. His website, let me find it here. You could go to spiritualacceleration.com, or you could go to another website, which is alchemicalflame.com as well. alchemicalflame.com. Let's bring him on in. Ofer Niv, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Thank you for joining us.
Great to be with you, Dave. I'll just say that Spiritual Acceleration is a place I used to work for, and now my website is Alchemical Flame, as you said, alchemicalflame.com.
Well, I'm going to get that in there right now. Alchemical Flame. That's awesome. Great name. How did you come up with that?
It was after, just trying to figure out what I'm doing, what it is that I do, and talking about it a little bit with somebody. And that's what actually they suggested. This is kind of two words that came up that fits together pretty good. So, and then I checked and said, yeah, nobody is using exactly this combination. Great, let's use it.
Don't you love it when that happens? It's just that synchronistic motion like
Right?
that.
Yeah. But for me, it's also about it's alchemical. It sounds kind of ancient, which I like. I like ancient wisdom, and transformational. And so this speaks to me, and the flame. I mean, it's really in the center of everything that I do, because I believe in each one of us there is a flame. So that's very, very representative name for what I do.
Tell us about your journey. How did this begin?
How it began has nothing to do with alchemical flame or with healing or anything like that. I mean, my life was very I don't know what to call it. Is there such thing as normal? But I in the United States, I grew, like you said, I grew up in Israel, but in the United States for almost 40 years, I worked in IT, in information technology. Started as a developer, and then worked as a manager, then as a senior manager for many years. And I was always interested in self-help, but it was not something that, the spiritual was kind of interesting, but was not something that I focused on until I had a period of time when I was not sleeping much. I really, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was sleeping like two hours a night for a long period, for months. And then one day I start to feel tingling in my fingers, and that's how it started, and it got worse. And so I went through all sorts of checkups, and discovered that I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And that was a little more. That was in 2011. 2011, diagnosed, and I felt like the world is coming to an end, because I was told, it's gonna get worse, and there is nothing that medically you can do about it, and all you can do is manage it. And it didn't sound like something that it didn't sit well with me.
Right.
And it also felt, I mean, honestly, it felt like I was gonna die. I know that there's a lot of people living with MS, that's what it's called shortly, for years, and but it does shorten your life, possibly. And for me, I thought, I don't know, I have a very live imagination. And I just started to see the end of my life. I remember we went to a trip in Italy, and every place that we went, every nice cathedral, it was like, okay, that's the last time I'm visiting this place. And then I was like, okay, I got to do something, because I don't like to feel like that. I can't not have anything to do about what's happening. And so I started to get more interested in alternative ways, because traditional medicine was not going to help. And I discovered a program that is mainly spiritual, and it was a year-long program. And during this program, I just I can say that my eyes started to open, because you realize that what you know is, or what you see with your eyes, is just a very, very small fraction of what reality really is. And I remember we were in different parts of the world during this program, including Vancouver Island, which we just talked about before we started. And at the end of the program, we had a meetup where there was a visitor, a shaman, that told me, I see a part of you in front of your body. Would you like to bring it back where it belongs? When she was saying this, I was feeling, I don't know. I felt this whole morning. I felt wrong. Something was just wrong, and I couldn't explain why. But she said it, and I said, "Yeah, sure. I want to get it back in my body." And she put me flat on a table. In this program, there were maybe 15 people, and they were all sort of knowledgeable about healing, and she was directing it, and everybody was doing something, and she was like the conductor. And a lot happened. I mean, there was shamanic stuff happening, like soul retrieval and soul release, and there was actually there was entities removal from my body. There was ET healing that was happening with me. Lots of things. I just remember a lot of hands above me, a lot of energy moving, and I'm seeing very long corridors, and I'm moving along these corridors and stuff coming out of me. In the end, I felt great, and then I flew the next day home, then to Phoenix, Arizona, and for like 2 weeks, just shivers up and down my spine, and it was like excited shivers, like I couldn't contain, something that I needed to know more about. And I said, I need to know more about it. And also, maybe it's enough about trying to fix me, because I was starting to feel better, and how can I help others too? And so I had to meet this woman, and she taught me how she healed with shamanic energy healing methods. And as far as MS, multiple sclerosis, so in 2020, I stopped taking medication, didn't need it anymore, and still not using any medication. And then last year, my doctor that keeps track on me with me since it started is told me that that's it. You don't need MRIs anymore. Your annual MRIs are just a waste of time. So I'm consider myself done and complete with MS, and it was a worthwhile journey.
That is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible, because you know, and to be blunt, when I was a kid, I had to learn about multiple dystrophy and multiple sclerosis, or muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, pardon me, because I had a muscular problem that I actually spent time in children's hospital with when I was a youngin'. And I had to, see so much when I was there in physical therapy, and kids having cancer and everything. And there's so much doom and gloom, unfortunately, in not just in children's hospitals, but in hospitals around the world, where when people get this diagnosis, they think it's over. They think that, there's no point in going, but you just did not have that attitude. You felt that there was more to this. And, we always hear the stories of, this isn't going to beat me, I'm going to beat it. But you truly did.
I did. And it's, I can't brag that, this is what I always do. I actually was hit before that 10 years earlier with thyroid cancer, and I got my thyroid removed. And I take it as the first time the universe is talking to me and say, hey, you got to change something. For so many years, I was working so crazy hours and just paying attention to a very narrow focus that, as somebody wise said, on your deathbed, you're not going to wish that you spent more time in the office. That's usually not what people wish for on their deathbed. And I just didn't pay attention to any signal at that time. I was very just headed into more of the same. And so I'd say that in 2011, the universe decided to hit me in the head with this 2x4, say, okay, you didn't listen, now take a stronger blow. And this time I had to listen, and I listened, and kind of didn't look back. I mean, I, in fact, worked in my corporate job for until 2021. and I retired from it,
Mm-hmm.
and focused full time on my healing practice, which I started in 2016. And so 2016 till now, just the greatest feeling to finally, be doing all day what you actually like to do.
Weren't you scared? Scared of failure, scared of whether or not you made the right decision, whether or not you were putting your family at risk for quitting the security of the job that you had to going into this?
Yeah, yeah. But I noticed that the more I go, the more I feel like, yeah, I definitely want to burn all the ship and never have the option to go back into the sort of the safe. It's an illusion, but the safe corporate place. No, but I was afraid for all sorts of reasons. When I remember when I started the program, and that was in 2015, that spiritual program, I was so probably brainwashed, or I don't know what it is, but I was so afraid. I worked for a large bank, and I'm like, are they going to find out? I remember in this program they were talking about the star seeds, where we came from, and stuff that at that time for me was so strange. I mean, I had several experiences as a child, very weird, and also as a soldier, but I never went into this direction. I never researched anything. I never thought about expanding on strange experiences. And so for me, it was like, does the bank follow me, follow my phone conversations, know that I'm even interested in woo-woo stuff? So there was a lot of just fear of somebody that knows nothing about how things are, and think that everybody is interested in what I know or what I don't know. And then the fear of, can I really learn this, and is it actually going to work? Is it real? Because you need to prove to yourself that it actually is something real, and that the imagination that is a big part of what I actually do when I work with someone is not something fake, but it's a reality creation mechanism. And so, yeah, there was fear. One thing that helped me with the fear initially is when I took classes in energy healing, I started with the teacher class, not with the student class, like a very advanced class for teachers, because that was the only thing that was available. It was like the schedule of the curriculum of these classes was first the teacher class, and then start a new sort of a new cycle. And I took the teacher's class, and it was the greatest thing, because I had no way to succeed in it in terms of pretending that I know anything, and I just have to give up all the illusions that I know what I'm doing, and that everybody around me I didn't need to pretend. I just learned. I just came there and said, basically, I know nothing, and just teach me. And it was beautiful, and I was so excited that then I had to take the orderly basics class and do it all over, but do it orderly. And then there is the fear of when you're starting to practice, is it actually going to work? Well, is anybody going to want to work with me? If I do work with somebody, is it going to work? Will I know what to say? Am I going to sense anything? Am I going to be accurate? And the only answer to that is practice some more, and then practice some more, and then practice some more, and it just comes. And I had probably thousands of clients and sessions, and you just learn it as you go. So yeah, there's always fear. I mean, yeah, there's sometimes fear, but these days I actually feel this is, as far as AI goes, this is probably a relatively safe job for now.
See, I work 2 full-time jobs, And I would love to give up the daytime job. I really would, but like most people out there, you think of, okay, well, I got to pay a mortgage. I got to make vehicle payments, insurance, food, hydro, cable, everything that you need to do. And the other job, which is this radio show, just isn't compatible to do that yet. And, and I feel the taxation of everything on my body, that's for sure. And it's just, to me, it's just a scary concept, thinking that, I know my body is telling me to do one thing, but the reality, which is the bank account and the money you owe, always seems to come into play. So, I'm proud that you were able to fight that off, because that is a scary decision.
It is a scary decision. And at the same time, what's the alternative? I mean, when I was in the bank, I was in fear, in constant fear. I mean, this is just another way. You can call it high level of anxiety. And there is always, I mean, I would go to sleep and I would wait for the phone to ring, and somebody needs something and I need to go and work. And there was all these due dates and deadlines and politics, inner office politics. So yeah, there's always the fear, just have different forms. And it's hard to make a decision to jump into something new. And so you're very brave, obviously, but as you say, your body was telling you something. And I think this is a good way to make a choice, is to let your body send you a sign. Like I said, I didn't always listen to the signs. I do now. I think it's so important, because the body knows so much that we don't pay attention to. I mean, even take simple feelings, like, what does anger tell us? I mean, anger tells us something. Anger is a biochemical reaction of the body. It's not just an emotion up in the air. It's a physical process in the body, and it happens to tell us that there is somebody that is crossing a boundary with us, and that's usually what anger is about. And so, yeah, paying attention to the body is a great way to know where you need to go. And I was really good at not listening to my body, and I think that's why I had to learn that the body gets sick where you don't listen to it, and then you don't listen to it, and then you still don't listen to it. When you feel shame, when you feel guilt, and a lot of us feel a lot of stuff like that about earlier things. I mean, it's like a call. It's like a call for. I mean, you can just say, this is an uncomfortable feeling, and I'm going to push it down. But you can also say, why do I feel this way? Because it's also a call for clarity. It's like, what is it that I'm supposed to look at? And what is it that I'm supposed to change?
1 minute to go before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Ofer Niv is our guest tonight. Is that spirit directing us to what we have to do?
Spirit is always directing us. And at the same time, it gives us leeway and it gives us choice. We live in this reality, and so we're given a choice, and that's why we make mistakes.
Because I'll be honest with you, I'm like everybody else. I'm absolutely tired of lessons. Tired of the lessons, my friend. Got to start paying attention more. That's for sure. I'm just like everybody else, man. Just trying to figure out a path on my own and try and, find that success feature. And when I say success, I don't mean like I got to be rich or I got to be, able to, sign an autograph or anything like that. That's not what it's about. But I think for the majority of us, success is more time with the family, more time to relax, more time to go out and smell the roses. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing today.
Abundance of what you like.
Bingo. Ofer Niv is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. His website, alchemicalflame.com. You can go there and see what he does. You can maybe even sign up with one of his classes. We'll be right back with the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio next. All right, we are clear. So during our commercial breaks, our radio audience cannot hear us, but our YouTube and podcast audience can. So I just don't want to catch you off guard with that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what we do around here. We have fun. We like fun. Fun is good. That was a quick half hour.
Yeah, it moved really fast, and there's so much to talk about. And I like your questions with your curiosity-based questions. They just open so many avenues, so many things to talk about.
That's why I never script a show. It's more natural and more beautiful when you can just make something happen off the cuff. At least that's my opinion.
It reminds me of someone that runs a podcast that had a conversation with me, then sent me a script of the conversation and said, does that work, or do you want to change something? And then we'll actually meet and record the podcast. And I thought, it could be much easier, we could just talk.
Talking is good.
Yeah.
Talking is very good. Communication is where we lack. Question or hello, beautiful and amazing Kira. How are you? Oob to Joe's Maine. You've got aliens. Yeah, you do. Stop denying it. You got the aliens. Anybody else in here? Human Carl, thank you for a great super chat along with Shelly. Appreciate the love and support, Human. I'm enjoying what Ofer is saying too, my man. It's awesome.
Thank you.
You sure have a way of captivating with your words. That is very impressive.
Well, I spent some serious time thinking about a lot of things. And I also know that there's always so much more to learn, that, what I know is just a tiny, tiny bit of what I want to know. And I'm a learner. I love to learn. So always something new. There's always more to know.
I think we forget that. I do. I think we forget it big time. That's a lesson that I struggle with at times. I'm just trying to figure out what the next step is, But I think like in today's day and age, so many people are in like a survival type mode that they forget that they're really allowed to live.
That's very true. That's very true. Survival mode, high stress, all traumas. For example, not far from me, the California fires a while ago. I mean, there's a lot of trauma that comes up with these kind of things. And where I live in Santa Rosa, California, we had big fires in 2017. And then again, after a few years. And so, yeah, there's always something. And we don't remember how to relax. I mean, a lot of animals know instinctively how to do this. I think humans, is what I heard, humans and elephants are the only mammals that don't know how to relax or release trauma automatically, like a part of just the process you go through.
Really?
Happen to be the ones with the long memory too, right?
True. That is very true. I never thought about it that way. I mean, it's just, I mean, I understand, and maybe it's a coping mechanism or whatever, but I totally understand where people are coming from. Like, why can't I just get that break? Why can't, I work so hard. I do everything I can to help others. And I see all these other people getting the break and I'm not. And, I feel for people at times because you see how hard and dedicated they work for their families, their friends, their loved ones, just trying to make a life for themselves, and try and be a good person, the best person they can. and they just can't seem to catch a break, and you wonder if they're swimming too hard in the pool or if they're not swimming hard enough or properly.
I hope the truth is not that they're not swimming hard enough, but usually the truth is somewhere in the middle. And
second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Our guest, Ofer Niv. But first, we want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Ofer Niv is here, shamanic healing, remote viewing. We're going to get into it all coming up here. His website, I love the name, alchemicalflame.com. And how can you transform? How can you be better? How could you succeed in what you want to do? That's what we're going to get into. Let's talk about success here for a minute. Is success a mental state, or is it just pure hard work?
To me, success is associated, and that, different people define it differently. For me, success feels like abundance. And abundance, I don't mean necessarily financially only. It can be whatever abundance means to you. It is also a sense of fulfillment. And it is also a sense of enjoyment that comes with it. So if I go back to my previous life in the bank, I was making pretty good money for a long time. And I never considered myself successful. And the reason I didn't consider myself successful is because I always thought I should make more money. I should go into a higher level of management. I should go just up and up and up, or maybe just leave this place and go and find another job that even if I end up doing something that I don't enjoy, as long as I could make more money, that would be great. And I just discovered that this was not it for me. And it took me it took me many years to discover that, because as you said earlier, we do have things to take care of, the mortgage and the car and the family. And
yes.
It seems like the way things organized in this three-dimensional world is that everything costs and everything is supposedly take effort. What I discovered is that effort doesn't need to correlate to your success. But what's more important is that you need to find something that really moves you, that really gets you, that really makes you enjoying whatever it is that you do. Because if you're not doing something that you really enjoy or that you're really good at, that you gravitate towards, you're just not going to be at your best, no matter how much you try. We're not all the same. Some of us are good at one thing, others are good at another thing. Everybody is good at something. If you try, and I tried many times. For example, one of the things that I found while I was still working for corporate is that that for me, things don't work well when I don't keep it simple. And I had this tendency, I don't know where I learned it. Maybe I learned it at school. I had this tendency that everything has to be overthought. Everything had to be overanalyzed. Everything had to be justified. And everything had to be perfect. And this didn't work for me. I mean, there were projects that didn't work because all these kind of things, they make projects late. For me personally, they created a lot of stress, and it's not really what I'm good at. What I'm good at is simplifying things. But I wasn't thinking of this even as an advantage. I was thinking this as, oh, anyone can do that. Not trying to go deep, but keeping things at a place where you can actually prioritize in a simple way rather than try to be perfect. I did not appreciate that. I had to have failures to understand part of my life work is simple. It's be simple, is think simple. And I see it now every time. When I try to work with a client and I see that I overcomplicate things, I remind myself, if it's not simple, it's probably not the way I'm supposed to work. And so yeah, I mean, for me, success is you got to find what's important for you and then do that. And don't find that when you're 60. Kind of listen to the wisdom if you're 20. It'll help you to start earlier on that. Really do what you love, because that will attract where you need to go. And I don't believe that money is equal hard work, although that's one of the ways to get there, but that's not my preferred way. What I feel is that when you do what you really love, you will be tunneled somehow. You will attract that into what you do.
But how do you find the mental, spiritual strength to heal yourself when there's people all around you willing to beat you down verbally, mentally, emotionally? Whether it's somebody stealing your parking spot that you're about to pull into at the supermarket, or it's your boss because you were 1.5 minutes late getting to a meeting, whatever it may be. I mean, there's a lot of, verbal abuse out there that goes on a daily basis, people flipping out for no reason, which can cause emotional and, mental stress.
You can go absolutely crazy if you allow the chaos around you to dictate how you feel. And I understand that it sounds like, simple to say, easy to say, right? Because there's so much that is going on and people need from you stuff all the time. It's really all the inner game. And I'm saying game, it's not a game. It is your true reality, but it's all about what's going on inside. If you think about it, your state of being, you can get mad because somebody yelled at you or somebody honked at you. This would be your internal state. So do you have to be in this internal state? Who else has control over this internal state? Is it the guy that is yelling at you, or do you have more control over this? The way I look at it, to simplify, maybe, is take an example. Somebody is making me angry. Okay, somebody is making me angry because they're saying to me something that really makes me angry. What's actually happening is just energy and sound waves are coming my way, and sound waves are making me angry. Does that make even sense? So there is already something inside of me that is being triggered, and that's how I get angry.
But in today's world, there's a lot of social anxiety. There's a lot of depression. We tend to put an incredible amount of stock in our social media platforms and what other people think of us, whether it's clicks or views, and that seems to dictate, plus I'm not going to say corporate greed, but there's a lot of greed out there from people who you were working your tail off for and can't even say a good morning to you in the morning, and there's a lot of haste out there in today's society as everybody is reaching for that last apple on the tree.
I cannot change the entire world, and I also learned that this is not my job. Well, what I can do is change my inner state. And anybody that comes to me for help because they're in front of me, for example, I'm not going to try and find every lost dog in the city. I feel for them, but this is just not what I do. But if a dog is in front of me and they're lost, I'm going to help them find a home. And I think about the same thing with me, with people. It's that this is never going to change. And it's always been like that. There is always chaos. And in fact, the chaos is getting worse. And it probably is going to get worse in the coming years because, as they say, the veils are thinning, which means that there's just more of what needs to happen to create so much chaos that you get a personal level and humanity level dark night of the soul. That you have to change something, that you don't have a choice. And for me, that happened when I was diagnosed with MS, and I knew this is it. I have to change. When I made this decision, until I made this decision, I felt pulled in all directions by my bosses. After I made this decision and I to take care of myself and learn how to take care of myself also spiritually, I remember, I left the job and I was actually enjoying not to have a job for about a year. And then somebody hired me into almost the same job that I had in the same company. And I didn't even try but I was in a really good place and that just happened. And sometimes that's how things go. But then I was very different on the job because I was paying attention to what's going on inside of me. And for example, again, anger, crossing boundaries. So one day my boss is sitting with me and he wasn't yelling at me. He just had this way of speaking that I could feel like he is hitting my chest with his voice. I was just starting to pay attention to this. What would happen probably 2 years earlier is that I would say, yeah, I probably screwed up. I probably did something bad. I probably need to do better. How am I going to rescue myself? And what I told him is lower your voice because it feels very, very aggressive. And at this point, I was so in tune with myself that I really didn't care what he thought. I thought I would be, I'm not going to cross lines. I was probably going to be okay with HR. I was not going to be rude or anything, but I was going to tell him because he was actually doing this. He was speaking to me like he owned me. And I was like, no, I'm not going to let that happen anymore. This is not happening. And I'm telling you now, probably because it felt really good and I still remember it. And so when are we going to start taking responsibility for our own responses? Because people around us will trigger us no matter what they do. And we can say, they did it to me, or we can say, what am I going to do about it? Because I have a choice. I can just feel like I have no control over what's happening to me, and I'm being just in reaction mode to anything and anyone around me. Or I can go inside and say, well, really, the control room is here. It's inside. That's the real control room. If you could figure out this secret control room that is inside of your heart, you would be able to change how people treat you because your energy would change. And, everything is magnetics. When you radiate anger, you probably noticed other people around you get angry. When you are in a great mode, then maybe somebody else around you is angry, but if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and eventually they either go away or change their attitude. And so there is something about discovering this secret control room that I call the sacred space of the heart inside, and that's what I work with my client on in many cases, because people are desperate to feel better about something, about family issues, or about financial issues, or about spiritual issues. But if they're not connected, if you're not connected to something inside of you that is always there, that is way bigger than your body and bigger than you, then you are going to be like just fly with the wind. Wherever the wind blows, it'll blow you like dust. And I just didn't want to do that anymore. So that's what I like to teach, is how to empower yourself so you don't have to buy into, because what it is we're giving our power away to events, people, circumstances around us. And I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not saying that I'm always successful, but that's the goal.
Mm-hmm. How does the human body react when you take control? When you say, that's enough, I'm done with people bullying me, I'm done with people, harassing me, I'm done with everyday problems, I'm going to start focusing on me. How does the body start to change, both mentally and physically and spiritually?
Yeah. So the body will start feeling like it's opening. I would say that that's, like, if I want to use one word, instead of contracting, which is when you are in defense mode, where you're in the deer in the headlights mode, the body starts relaxing and opening. And there are all sorts of nervous system and chemicals that are related to this, because when we are stressed out, where we feel like we're always attacked, there is really an attack. Our brain gets hijacked, and there are all sorts of hormones and chemicals going on in the body and activating our sympathetic system, and we start to have this stress response, and it wakes in us all traumas. And when you find the way to remove trauma or to release trauma, which is something that I work with people on doing, is finding what I call trauma bubbles in your body. Because nothing that you always think something new happened to me, like this was really bad. Almost nothing is new. Everything is here, and I believe everything is not just here from what happened to you this morning versus what's happening to you right now, but it's also what happened when I was a child, what happened in a past life, what happened to the generations before me that passed to me with the genes, with the epigenetics. So things are passed to us, all sorts of energy patterns of ways. For example, families might have the energy pattern of getting really defensive, getting really defensive, or hiding the truth and just putting, you're not supposed to show what you really feel, just put a certain, that there are things that pass from generation to generation, some through education, some, a lot actually, through the epigenetics, which is the genetic soup. It's not just the genes, but also other things that are around the genes. And they literally dictate to us how we react, what we believe in, even. Like, maybe we believe we're somehow helpless, powerless. I mean, that belief can go from one life to another life, from one generation to the next generation. And it's something that if you pay attention to and you let that go, if you can release this, you'll feel the body will suddenly start opening up. And I call my system the alchemical flame, because I feel it here, I feel it in the chest, but I believe that each one of us has a flame in us. And this flame is not physical, of course, it doesn't burn. But if we can do this little exercise. Just think of a tiny flame, just a tiny flame, or even a spark, if you can't imagine a flame, inside of the center of your chest. Maybe you'll start to feel some warmth with it, but notice how when you start focusing on it, this flame starts to grow. And if you focus on it even more, it'll grow more, and eventually it'll just be completely around you. And this flame is not just the imagination. It's your life force energy that is connected. And in my belief, two divine energies. So it's cosmic, but it is your life force that you're feeling, and you're not feeling it when you're too busy doing other things. But when you start feeling it, you feel something that is very powerful, that is in you, that can quiet your mind. That's part of the problem, that we're so much in our minds. We're so much in the head, and the head has all these thoughts that are spinning around, and we just can't. It's like the movie that replays itself over and over and over. There is this Heart Math Institute that have shown that the heart knows what the brain is going to think a fraction of a second before it registered in a branch. So the heart is the biggest electromagnetic organ in the body, and electromagnetically it registers something always before you have the thought in the brain. And so I love to take people into the heart, because the heart is, if you're talking about success, what success means to you, you'll know it in the heart. You won't have to engage so much your analytical thinking to have an answer, because your heart will feel what it means to you. For me, for example, it will mean probably just learning. I mean, I just love learning. I love a lot of things, but when I learn, it's like I don't know. It just feels like an expansion. I feel warm inside. I feel happy. And so I just love it. I mean, if I learn, I feel like, okay, this was a successful day. I learned something new. You know, I walked the dog. I'm listening to something. I learned something new. It's great. And so yeah, I mean, being in the heart and then letting the heart work with the head. I mean, the brain is great. I mean, there's nothing like the brain. But how about letting the heart come with the purpose, and then the brain is a great executor. Then let the brain do the job. But the heart is just. I love to go in the heart because I feel at home, and then I feel connected, and then things come up. You mentioned to me earlier that you just know what you know how to do stuff, and you don't need to learn it. Well, that's what happens when you are in your heart. Suddenly, pieces of knowing, of knowledge, things come to you intuitively, and you just know what you want. You just know what the heart wants. And when you know what the hearts want, the brain will take eventually over, will work with the heart and get you what you want. But start there, start in the heart, because the brain likes to go into the brain stem, into the lower brain, and likes to go into fight, flight, freeze responses, and that's hard.
We got about 90 seconds here, just over 90 seconds to go. Is it the heart or is it the soul that sends the proper message?
Oh, we can talk about it probably for more than 90 seconds. I would say they're both working together, but I'm literally talking about the physical heart having another dimension in it that, you're right, is related to the soul too. But I have this exercise that brings the heart into the brain, and that feels great. The heart has the color green. You bring the color green into the head. Suddenly you're in alpha mode brain waves.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love it. I love hearing it, because I find that little voice, that little soul voice that tells you, yeah, don't be doing that. You don't want to go there today, or, it's time to walk in the other direction. I always find that one so pinpoint accurate that when it speaks, I listen, and not enough people do.
Good for you.
It's troublesome sometimes when you see that. I mean, do you get that voice often?
I learned to listen to the voice. Everybody has the voice, the guidance, but are we listening to it? Are we aware? Are we listening? You're lucky. You somehow got into that. You got thrown into it, and now it's there. You don't have to think about it.
Oh, yeah, because it kicks my butt each and every time when I go the other way. That's for sure. It really does. But you know what? I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because it is the top of the hour. Hard to believe this show is already 1 hour in with Ofer Niv, shamanic healing. We'll get into that. We'll get into a little bit of remote viewing in hour number 2 as well. This is Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We'll be back right after this. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we are clear. We're going to take about a 5.5-minute break here. I'm going to put you back in the green room, and I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
All right, be right back. All right, I am back. And Paul Demon, how you doing? Let's bring Ofer back in. And who else has joined us here late? Luscious Jules, how are you? Hope you're having a good night. Shelly, how's the autographs going? Y'all ready to sign after the show? All right. Let's see. We got about 45 seconds. Thank you to Richard, Fast Hemi, Human Carl, and Shelly for the great super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love and support. It's a good way to support what we do on a nightly basis here on Spaced Out Radio, so thank you very much. And we got 20 seconds. 20 seconds, my friend.
In the meantime, I had a chance to glance into the YouTube stream, and I love your audience.
Oh, they're beautiful people.
Yeah.
Beautiful people. All right, we got 5 seconds. Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate burning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet called Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Kakistocracy. Kakistocracy. Oh, I'm butchering this one. You know, I said it perfectly before. Kakistocracy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's go to Ofer Niv. He's got a great website called Alchemical Flame. We're talking about the human body, the anatomy, the soul, the heart, and our spiritual guidance that we could all use. Ofer, welcome back.
Thank you.
When we end up on a journey of learning about our own spiritual self, how do we start? What do we need to get that kick in the butt to all of a sudden start paying attention?
I was always somewhat interested in spiritual matters, but I did not want to take the time to really delve into how things work until I got sick. I do not recommend that. It's like, they're saying there are ways to know about what's after death before you die, so you can navigate the realms after dying easier. There are ways to know, to learn, to become more familiar with what's really going on, that is not just what's the physical eyes see, what's really going on before you get sick. In fact, I heard another shaman say that the eyesight is the ideal for eyesight is to have what the eyes see. Like, I see right now my window in front of me and my computer screen. Just use 80% of your eyesight to see physically like that with your two eyes. No, it's actually the opposite. I'm sorry. Use 20% of your eyesight for this and use 80% for inner sight. So inner sight, what you see that you don't see with your physical eyes, is more important. It's more important for example, whenever, if you're an architect and you're imagining what a building will look like, that's probably more important than a lot of things that you could do with your physical eyes. So the inner, the imagination, there are, in traditional wisdom, these are real worlds when you imagine. Like, our mind likes to interrupt and tell us, you just imagine this, it's not real, it's fake. But there are inner worlds that are very real. I don't know if, for example, the astral body is an example for an inner world that you don't see with your physical eyes, but it doesn't mean it's not real. You can see very well with your inner eyes in the astral plane. You can see your astral body. If you change your astral body, your physical body might heal. So that's an example. And the same guy said about the ears, but the hearing is different. You want to hear 80% outside and only 20% the inner chatter, because we have all this inner chatter always talking to us. Don't listen to that much. But like, if you walked in a jungle, you want to listen. You want to know what's around you. Even if you don't see much, you want to listen. And so it's just an interesting proportion between sight and hearing. For me, I just discovered that that to become spiritual means to feel better about myself, because I can relax, because I know something that I do not need to respond to every minute. I do not need to be on my guard all the time, because I know something, maybe one thing that is eternal, and that makes me breathe better. I can breathe slower. Actually, breathing slower helps too. So if we're talking about getting the body relaxed, breathing is the greatest thing, but it's very tied to the soul and to the heart. And because you asked earlier about the soul, I'd say for me, there is a difference between the soul and the spirit, and of course the body or the mind. So the spirit is the part of us that is always connected to creation, the universe, the divine, whatever you want to call it, something bigger than me. That's the part of us that is an aspect of that. It's eternal. It never changes. Not everything that has spirit has a soul. There are things that are spirits, but they don't have a soul. They don't incarnate. If you're going to incarnate, you got to have a soul too. So the soul is the stuff that also is eternal, but it gets injured. It gets wounded. It learns. It needs karmic lessons. It needs to repeat lessons. It needs to change. It needs to evolve. And so you can say the spirit is where you started and where you want to go back. The soul is what departed from the spirit and is through learning ascending. The heart is the home of the soul. The heart is the home of the soul. You asked about the heart and the soul. So for me, when I say I work with clients in the heart is a physical place, of course, but I show you as a client a way to go into another dimension within this physical space that I call the sacred space of the heart. And in there, that's the home of your soul. You discover your soul, and you discover this eternal nature of your soul. That's a good way to start learning about these things. What I teach in my class is very simple to just start. I'm teaching what is the alchemical flame that I talked also about before. If you just start with feeling this, everything starts to change. And if you practice this alchemical flame can actually help you heal physical issues, emotional issues, spiritual issues.
What is the definition of the alchemical flame?
The alchemical flame is an energy that I call life force that is connected to your essence. So I mentioned what spirit is, and it's connected to your spirit. So it's less about the soul, and it's more, this is your spirit inside of you. That's what the alchemical flame is. It's the way you can see or feel your spirit, because we can talk about the spirit. What does it mean? But if you can feel this flame inside of you, that is your spirit inside of you. So that's the part that connects you to the divine realms. It is also helping you release what you don't need. So as a flame will do, it burns or it purifies stuff that is not longer needed. So I like to work with this flame to burn through limiting beliefs. If I have a belief after something that I failed in, I'm just not good enough. There is a method that I use the alchemical flame to burn through that belief, or through negative emotions like I'm feeling sadness, feeling despair. This is a tool. So the alchemical flame is a reality of your existence inside of you that you can use as a tool for self-healing. That's the basics of what I teach. But then I also have 5 realms that you can work with with the alchemical flame that goes a little deeper. But that's where you start. You start very simple with the fact that you are a body with a spirit inside of you and with a soul. And this spirit is your alchemical flame. That's the alchemical flame. Not everything has a spirit, but as humans, we always, any human being, any animal, anything that is alive has the alchemical flame. So we all have it. We just don't notice it sometimes. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Do we all have that alchemical flame, or has it fizzled out on some of us?
It never fizzles out, but it might become a spark, a little spark. When we don't pay attention to it, there is this Kabbalistic story about the creation of the world. And the world was first like a point, like a tiny point. Everything is just a tiny point. And then that was creation, and creation wanted to experience itself somehow. And so it wanted to create something. And so it created a vessel, something that can receive light. So there is this little point of creation, and there is this vessel. Now, creation puts light into the vessel. It's too much because creation is infinite. The vessel was finite. The vessel just breaks into multiple tiny pieces. And these pieces are the sparks that become the spark of a spirit in each one of us, in each person. So everybody has it. Not everybody knows it. Even if you go to the worst person on earth, they have it, but they probably don't know, and they probably forgot. And they probably also karmically playing a role that has been maybe given to them and agreed upon before they even entered the body. And so in that sense, yeah, you wouldn't be living without this spark or flame inside of you. But sometimes it's so small that you don't even know, you don't notice that it's there. When you start noticing that it's there, you can use it to what I teach, self-healing. But you can also feel it to just feel, I'm not nothing. I'm not powerless. I'm actually supported. I'm connected. I'm not alone. It's your way, from a divine perspective, we're not the divine, right? There is a divine. There is this power. There is God. And everyone else has an aspect of God. So we're linked to each other, and we're linked to the divine through this flame. The biggest flame is the divine, but we're all taking part of it by being somehow linked through the alchemical flame.
The journey that many people go on when they start finding their spiritual path, it can be rough. The phenomena seems to, kick you in the butt. It praises you, but it scolds you at the exact same time. How do you find that balance through the mind, body, and soul to find, a straight path rather than the waves of emotions that the phenomena and the spirit seem to put us through?
I wish I had a good answer, Dave. I really do. It almost seems like that's the way, ups and downs of a soul to learn so that it can evolve by repeat ups and downs, by getting up and falling, but it gets better, so it's a little bit like the baby, that as long as the baby just keeps on getting up, eventually it learns how to walk, so it gets better. But on some level, this is the way. There's no other way. I actually can tell you a little more about why I think this is the way, because we are living in a polarized reality. That's the nature of this reality. It's not a whole reality. The divine is one. There is oneness. Okay, there is no duality. There is no polarity. There is just light. But when you transcend, when you descend through multiple layers of density into this density of living in the world, in the body, it's like you're moving through a filter that is like two magnets, one north, one south, one plus, one minus, and you move through these polarities, and from that point on, you're no longer a part of the oneness. Now you have to have this plus, minus, this good, bad, this, but that's what helps you evolve. Without that polarity, there is no movement. There is just, everything is still. When there is polarity, there is movement, there is change, and that's how we grow. That's how we learn.
Here's one thing that I've learned on my own journey through this. And I've talked to dozens of people about this exact same thing. And for the majority of them, it happened to them as well. People who all of a sudden find their spiritual path that they need to take, they go through a lot of transformation. They change their friend groups. All of a sudden, people who were best friends for years seem to turn on them. They lose financial stability. They lose, maybe even family members, because they are, they've decided to go down this path of learning who they are, and it's still not quite mainstream enough for a lot of people to accept. There seems to be a lot of loss to begin this journey. Why is that?
Sometimes it is because and I'm going to talk about friends, but also biological family. Sometimes our biological family are not our soul family. It's just the way it is. So as souls, we move from one life to the next life. We have what's called the soul dance. We have relationship between souls. One lifetime, you're the father, the other soul is the son. The next life, the roles switch, or the husband and the wife switch. But they're soul families that keep the relationship going, and they meet as different people in different lifetimes, in different relationships. And for a lot of us, we love our biological families. For some of us, we can't stand our biological families. We just don't get along. And sometimes it is because our biological family fulfilled the role, and the role was to bring us here. We came through them. We learned also as children lesson, and sometimes these are traumatic lessons, but for whatever reasons, our soul had an agreement that this is what we're going to get. And sometimes there are accidents, and sometimes there is no agreement. It's just, it's what happened that was unfortunate. But we always have sort of the choice, what are we going to do next? And what we do next is we gravitate when we start to want something else, when we start to be called into like being something different, not just repeating the thing that we were, experienced over and over and over. We start to gravitate towards other souls, other people. And usually when you find somebody that you really develop long-term relationship, that you feel like something clicks and it can go on for years, these are probably not just from this lifetime. These are soul friendships or some kind of a soul relationship. And so, but but as far as the hardships that one needs to go through, not everybody goes through hardships. Some people just receive everything from the moment they're born, right? They just grow up with everything that they need, and they're given whatever they want. Are they happy later on more than somebody that went through tribulations? I'm not sure. My guess would be no. And every soul is unique. So, Buddhism and many traditions see it as the soul is in another zone before it comes into the body, before conception. It has a plan. It knows the lessons it's going to get in this lifetime. And when it comes, into conception, then you sort of integrate the biology and you integrate the generational, the ancestral stuff with the soul plan, and a new person starts to be created. But when the person is born, it sort of fulfills something that I would say fate. It's what your soul plan is. Now, the fate is not in stone. The fate can be changed. And so it can be changed if you are aware, and it can be changed if you want to work with it rather than fight it. If you try to fight fate, usually it doesn't work. But if you work with fate and you sort of, like judo a little bit, you go with the momentum rather than against the momentum, then you can affect what direction your life take. And so your fate can be adjusted and become the destiny that is the fate combined with choices that you made. And, it's tough. I don't know how to make it sweet, how to explain that, how to say that there is something that is just a straight line that you can take and everything will work. I mean, I'd like to see the person that can consistently do that. And I'd like to see the person that if they did this, they would actually be happy in the end.
Wow. That is very powerful in regards to that. For where do you think the soul comes from?
The soul, there is this concept of the fall or the separation, and the core wound of the soul, which is the core wound of separation. And so souls are coming from the divine. You can think of it as the divine as an awareness, because that's all it is. There is nothing created at that point. It's just pure awareness sitting in a void. Like there's really nothing, but everything is potentiality. And the void and creation wants to experience itself. And so for creation to experience itself, it created souls. And the souls then get emanated from creation, and eventually they end up in different experiences, including experiences here down on Earth or other planets, other dimensions, other universes. And it can be a person, a rock, it can even be a car, it can even be a man-made, that will have some level of awareness in it. And
I'm going to get you to hold that thought.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you to hold that thought, because we're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. What is the soul? When we return on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear. This is so much fun tonight. Thank you very much.
It's my my joy. And
Are
so,
you
speaking of the soul is a way for creation to experience itself in multiple ways, really in all ways, because there's as many souls as it needs to be created to experience all different life scenarios, different feelings, different emotions, different kind of beliefs, different kind of unfoldings.
excuse me?
All
Yep.
these are ways that creation learns about itself, that experiences itself through the souls that started from creation. And souls want to eventually evolve. That's the system. I don't want to say system as if this is as if this is something that is very structured, because it probably isn't. But our little brain need to understand, something that we can explain to ourselves. And so we're saying the souls are going through different lessons, and hopefully they evolve. Because if they don't, they just keep on repeating the same kind of experience over and over and over, and maybe it gets worse before it gets better.
Very true. Very true. All right. Lotus Spider, how are you? We've got about 3.5 minutes. Are you enjoying yourself?
I'm having really good time speaking with you.
Thank
You
you.
you have a way of making a person feel comfortable. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. That's nice.
Somebody told me that was when I was taught how to do interviews. Somebody told me, sit at the edge of your seat when you do an interview. And I actually really appreciate it, because there are some interviews where you better sit at the edge of your seat, because the interview takes like 5 minutes, and you better spill it all out in the 5 minutes that you got. The last thing that I want to do today is be at the edge of my seat. I feel really comfortable, really, just feeling at home here. So, and that's, maybe it'll feel, maybe it's not a term you're used to, although I suspect you are actually. Yeah, you are. This is just your energy. I mean, this is your energy making your guest feeling welcome, and that's how it works.
I appreciate that. Thank you. You should try and make it down to UFO Con.
Yeah, I know, it's not too far from me. And it's April what?
April 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
And let me just let's get the website loaded up here. If it'll load. It's taking its time. There it is. Where is it? It is at the Crown Plaza in Burlingame, California.
Okay, I know where that is.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you be there? Can you get a pass for like one day?
Yes, you can, at the door.
Okay, that's a thought.
Or you can buy them online.
And you're there all 3 days?
I'm there all 3 days.
Perfect. I'll give it a shot. I hope to see you there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right. Thank you tonight to Shelly, Human Carl, Fast Hemi, and Richard for the great super chats. Very much appreciate the love and support, everybody. And don't forget, if you need to, you can shop at the Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. And yeah, here we go in about 15 seconds, maybe 18. All right, coming back. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives by going to YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. Ofer Niv. We have him for the next half hour, well, till the top of the hour. His website, alchemicalflame.com, if you want to check it out. And right before the break, you were going to finish describing what the soul means. Or where it's from.
One of the things that happens to me since I started working as a healer is that I don't remember anything. So I have no idea what I was talking about. It's like I don't need to remember anymore, which is good because when I was in my corporate job, I always needed to know everything. And now it's like, yeah, I don't need to remember what we talked about 5 minutes ago because we are perfectly where we are. But about the soul, so I don't know what I was talking about the soul. And I also got looking at this hypnotizing, blinking Bigfoot, and I forgot what I was thinking, but I love it.
Oh, that's okay. Well, let's move on here because I do have a number of audience questions for you here.
Okay.
And we're going to start off with Blue Moon. Can you remove a black magic curse sent by a Native American Itomi? My ex has sent me a creature to blow porcupine quills into my back shoulder blades. What's your thoughts on curses?
Curses are exactly what is being described here. It's something that is typically sent to someone from somebody else. The interesting thing about curses is, it's curses, it's spells. I mean, there are some differences, but they have this energy that can do something to you that is dark. So they can put a hold on you, for example, and they can attack you like the porcupine quills into the back. So definitely possible to clear that, because what shamanic energy healing is about seeing and clearing, sometimes by pulling out anything in you that is not you. See, you are a body, you're a soul in a body, and anything that is not you that is in this body is not helping you. It's probably in the way. It can hold you from evolving. It can cause physical pain. It can cause emotional pain. So yeah, as a healer, I will help you release a curse. And you can see sometimes a curse and many other things like curses, for example, attachments, marks, as some sort of a contract, an energetic contract between two people or two beings, and one is doing something to the other, and usually the other is with or without the agreement of the other. And the interesting thing about curses is they don't necessarily leave on their own. I mean, it happens, but it's not typical. They don't just leave. Unless somebody put a time limit on them, they just stay. It's like a contract that is open-ended. And if you die, the curse might not leave, and you might incarnate with the curse, still either in waiting to be awakened by some trigger, or just active from the get-go. So curses can be removed. It's good to remove, because it's good to remove anything that is not you. What is not you that is in you? Sometimes it's simple as other people's emotions. You know how you sit in a center of a room and somebody opens the door, somebody that you don't necessarily like very much, and starts yelling at you? You want to move back. You want to move back in your chair and or with your chair. And some of the reason is they're pushing their energy on you. That's what they're doing. They're pushing their energy into you. And you might even feel it in your stomach. And so this is an example for somebody putting their energy literally into your body. If you are not familiar with this, you hold a lot of energy of other people in your body, especially if you just don't know how to sometimes say no to something that you don't want, that is coming your way. And you feel, maybe because of childhood education, that you have to say yes to everything, and you're supposed to take responsibility for everything, and you need to help everyone, and you need to bring everything else and take over somebody else's suffering, then yeah, you will carry a lot of stuff that is not you. And so, like the curse, like people's energies inside of you, like soul fragments of somebody else that might be in you, that happens too. Entities, which are basically ghosts, or people that are no longer here, but no longer alive, but didn't leave yet this reality. They also might be in you if you make yourself very vulnerable, and if you're not aware that these things can happen. And usually things outside of you are attracted. It's like magnetics. They're attracted to similar frequencies. So if your frequency is, I'm just suffering all the time, I'm just miserable all the time, that's probably the kind of energy that is going to be attracted to you. And what it does is it magnifies what you already feel. And you can get a sign, like sometimes you might feel, why am I so upset? I just this little thing happened. Why am I so upset? It doesn't even make sense. It might not make sense because it's not just you that is being upset, but there is something in you that magnifies what you already feel. And so definitely a sign that maybe there is something in you that is not you. You want that out. And yeah, shamans remove curses.
All right, let's move to another question here. Let's go to Derek. In your opinion, what role will non-human intelligence have on humanity's future going forward?
And I'm sorry, what is the NHI?
Non-human intelligence, aliens, extraterrestrials.
Okay.
If we talk English rather than the government terms.
Mm-hmm. It can go in many ways, and the way I personally feel is that we are being watched carefully. It's like an adult that has a baby trying to walk, and you're putting your hands around, so in case they really screw up and they're gonna fall and bump their head, they're gonna bump first into your arms. And this is what I feel is going on. And I know they're good aliens and not so good, but when I just describe what is my feeling about what's going on, is we're watched, not in terms of a threat, but in terms of we are here. We're growing, we're being watched, we're very baby steps, we're very tantrumy these days, and I don't think that we're gonna be allowed to completely screw up and disappear from this planet, or explode the planet. That's my feeling, and I don't know if that helps, because I don't have any proof for this, but this is sort of a feeling that I carry with me, because I know they're there, and I work with all sorts of extraterrestrials that are helping in the healing process, and because I do this, I just know that there's a lot of goodness and a lot of willingness to help out there, and so that's my experience, and I don't think that everything is like that. I know that with every light there is something dark, but that's my feeling. That's the balance.
Okay, we can move on here. Let's go to Paul. Do my dogs have souls?
Yes. Dogs absolutely have souls, and dogs have feelings, and dogs talk to you, not in English, although they might say something in English that you're the only one who can hear. I work with dogs sometimes when I work, for example, with a dog that was depressed, and because the dog was depressed, it was a very large dog, and the owner just couldn't control the dog, and the dog was pulling hair and all around the house. And what I saw was that the dog, which was in California, born in Alaska, was separated from his mom and from the litter too fast, too early, and they did not have even a chance to say properly goodbye. I don't know exactly what went there, but there was trauma because of that. I worked with the dog. I worked with the dog on the heart chakra and also on other chakras. I don't remember exactly which ones, because there was also a physical issue. I don't remember exactly what it was. And after this treatment, the dog just behaved very differently, was very calm. So dogs have souls, dogs listen, and dogs evolve too, and a person's soul can become a dog and vice versa. So souls experience different things according to their plans, and it doesn't always just ascending. It's not like today I'm a dog, tomorrow I'm a person, next time I'm an ascended master. No, these are so not linear, so all over the place, and each one has a different plan. It's really hard to find a lot of consistency in how souls proceed, except that everybody wants to that goes back to the conversation about success. If I use my words for this, I would say everyone wants to feel that we can express whatever we are, whoever we are, authentically. If I can express myself authentically in this world with whatever I do, whatever I like to do, I feel that as success. And I think this is aligned with soul purpose. This is why souls are here. A very long question to answer to a short question.
That's all right. Let's move on here. Let's go over to Ethanol, who is asking, how do you get a loved one interested in spirituality when they are more of a logical, analytical person?
So you can't make somebody be interested in spirituality unless they experience something that is causing them to want to do it or to be ready for it. It's not going to happen. But here is my advice. You're spiritual. When you are spiritual, when you in your body feel good, feel open, feel connected, feel supported, feel one with the divine, however you want to call it, it's not staying in your body. You radiate it to a distance. So anybody around you gets that feeling. If they're ready to change, they will change. Go into a supermarket. Just before you go in the supermarket, do this little exercise. Maybe feel this alchemical flame, the way we talked about, how when you pay attention, it grows, but feel this calm and connected, and how you're just happy to be here as a soul, as a spirit, as a body, and walk in and just pay a little attention to how people around you might change. Maybe somebody in the line is not going to be what they were going to be otherwise if you were, impatient. So it's like comparisons. This visit and then the next visit, when you is the only thing that you can control that is different, and see how it feels. This is true. This is how you can get anyone to change without trying. Change yourself. Work on yourself.
Moving on, let's go to Jules. So is the essence that souls are made of kind of like water, can take different forms at different states of existence, and continuing to recycle in a closed system?
So souls are made of the closest that I can give to a soul, because there's nothing material in it, is streams of light, streams of, you might say, grace, which is what grace is the frequency of love. So I'm not talking here about romantic love. I'm talking about a frequency of divine love. You can say that this frequency is what souls are made of. And it's like the atoms of the soul. And then different combinations of the atom can create different things. And so you might create water, you might create a monster, or you might create an angel. And from the same soul. It's the different way the pieces are combined. But the essence is light. That's what souls are made from. And then can they take different forms at different states of existence? This is a really interesting question, because souls accumulate wounds. We have spirits. You can think of spirits as whole, as a perfection. The spirit never gets sick. The spirit never needs fixing. Soul can feel broken. It can feel abandoned. It can feel lonely. It can feel forsaken. And it can feel happy too. And so, yes, there are different forms. And it's not that souls have colors or consistencies in them. That is what the body has. But this is what the soul manifests into. The soul manifests into the body. And so you can think of the soul as, for the body to be alive, it needs to have a soul. The condition of the soul will inform the body. If the soul is if there's more light active in the soul, the body is healthier. If the soul has a lot of darkness, the body becomes more depressed. Maybe there's going to be immune issues. Maybe there are going to be other issues eventually, as long as there is no soul work. And when you work on your emotions, when you work on your feelings, when you work on your emotions, you work on the soul. This is soul work. Because all these things, there are connections between the body and the soul. And so it's the ways the soul is telling you something is wrong. When you listen, you work. When you listen and you work on the soul, you change the body. When you work on the body, you help the soul. So there are different octaves. They're reflections of each other. It's just that the soul is a higher octave than the body.
All right, let's move on to another question. Let's go over to Boondock. What if you have the tendency to run at that energy to fight it?
the tendency to run at that energy to
This goes
fight
back
it.
to when you were talking about the soul and trying to move forward with your own spirituality and the energy that it was using.
Yes. I still don't understand to fight what.
That's okay. We can move on.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But
I don't understand.
let's go to Paul. What are your thoughts on reincarnation?
That it's a real thing. Not. I think it goes back also to an earlier question. It's not. I don't feel like I'm in a prison that I'm forced to come back all the time into this same world. I actually think that souls go different places, that they don't always have to end up here on planet Earth. But reincarnation is real. It's what happens. So we die, the soul leaves the body, the soul is still here, it can see the body, the soul is eventually going to move into what we call it into the light. So when it's here on the planet, after death, it's in what's called the black zone. Then eventually it moves into the light, and it has all sorts of stages through maybe there is a revisit, life lessons. There is everything is guided. You meet different kinds of guides that give you different perspectives on what happens. You move through all sorts of planes to get yourself ready for another life, another incarnation, and eventually you have the white zone, which is where you plan the next life. Then you move into that life through the gray zone, which is, I see as more the astral plane, is when you meet all sorts of other beings, other souls. You can interact with them. I recommend not necessarily when you're on your way into being born or into being conceived. And then the soul ends in the body, and that's called the red zone throughout the life until death is the red zone. And so these are the reincarnations of soul, and you go through one life to the next life, sometimes on this planet, sometimes somewhere else. Some people feel like, I don't understand why I don't belong. I don't feel like I'm from here, and maybe you are not from here. So yeah, the incarnation is interesting. It's the way souls evolved. If the body stayed forever, it would be an interesting experience, but it would not be the way we evolve now. Now we evolve through changing the body and having another experience every time. That's the reincarnations.
Where do you think the souls are stored prior to reincarnation? You got about a minute to go.
I don't see souls as stored, although I do have an experience that I did experience my soul as in a pool of other souls as like a collection. And when I went deeper into this, I got the message that I can choose. So I see the souls as free to choose where to go. But sometimes, souls are like people. We are wounded. Souls are not perfect. They're learning in process. And so if we don't know that we're free, then we're not. Just remember that. Remember that you're free.
Ofer, I want to say a big thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. We want to post your website, Alchemical Flame, out there, alchemicalflame.com, and people can reach out to you there. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much.
I enjoyed it very much, you and your audience. Thank you very much, Dave.
It is absolutely wonderful. Alchemicalflame.com is the website. Coming up next, we have Swamp Dweller and Robin Haynes. Busy Hour 3 is next on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Thank you very much, my friend. That
And
was a
thank
lot
you,
of
my
fun.
friend. It was fun. It's great to meet you, and maybe we'll meet again in April. Who knows?
Well, hopefully we could see you at UFOCon.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. We're
All
good?
right. Here.
Okay.
Good night.
Nice to see you.
Ofer Liv, Niv, everybody. What a great guy. Great guy. Love his work. I'd love to speak longer with him. I would. Good job, Filthy. Be right back. All right. Robin Haynes is here. Hello, Robin.
Hey, sweetie. How are you?
Trying to figure out the strangeness in the studio tonight.
Seems to be going around.
Tell you about it when we're on air.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting. Thank you tonight to Shelley, Human Carl, Fast Hemi, and Richard for the super chats. If you have questions for Robin, put them in capital letters. We love doing the Q&A with you guys. So if you're in our YouTube chat, get your questions ready for Robin, anything cryptid. And we're going to get going here in like 5 seconds, everyone. Here we go with hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Wow, this show is flying by. My name is Dave Scott. I love broadcasting this show to you, telling you all about the weird and strange. I hope you're enjoying it too. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Kakistocracy. Kakistocracy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. Hello. I have a short and perhaps interesting story of something I cannot explain that happened to me while hunting. I live among the ridges of southeastern Kentucky. One morning in the spring turkey season, I went hunting at a large hunting club I belonged to. I woke up quite early and drove the short drive there, arriving at around 5 a.m. so I could get there before the turkey wake up, hoping to catch one leaving the roost. I walked down the large field that is near the entrance that sometimes has crops for the wildlife, but is currently mowed short. From a perspective, it is a very rural area. From the ridge top adjacent to this field in one direction, town is about 5 miles away, and on the other, there are tree-covered ridges as far as you can see. So, hoping to catch some turkey going to this field or the nearby pond, I sit at the edge of this field, in near complete darkness with my Remington 1187 shotgun in my lap. I sit here for probably about 30 minutes when I hear something approaching on the opposite edge where the field ends, which is probably no more than only 25 yards away. I can see the silhouette of something walking through the brambles. It is a 4-legged and stocky-looking thing, probably 1.5 to 2.5 feet at the shoulder. It does not look like anything native to Kentucky, but I just sit there and try to make it out. After just a few seconds of mulling about, it disappears quietly back into the briar patch from where it came. Then I see 3 or 4 small shapes running around in the field, almost like they're playing. I thought they were rabbits or something at first, based on their size. I could see them moving around, but again it was quite dark out. Just a new moon and a tad cloudy. Here's the weird part though. I am wearing a bright headlamp I used to walk in, and I've had off since I sat down. I don't want to let anything know I'm here, but my curiosity got the best of me. I look at the little shapes, reach up and turn on my headlamp, and there is nothing there. Weird. I assume my eyes were playing tricks on me somehow. I turn my lamp off and continue waiting. A few minutes would go by, maybe about 5, and there they are again. So once again I look at them. Very slowly I reach up to my headlamp, making sure they're all still there. I flick it on, and yet there's nothing there. Now I am really confused as most animals freeze when they are unaware of your presence and are suddenly blinded by a light, and I heard no movement at all. So once again, I turned it off and waited. I am not scared at all at this point, having a semi-auto 12 gauge filled with some high-powered turkey load. For the third time, I see these shapes come out again and start moving. I turn on my light and nothing. Now, I must know what is going on, so with my light still on, I walk over to the patch with thick brambles. I do not see anything, but as soon as I make it to the edge, something or someone bursts out and tears down the valley away from me at full speed, making this weird squealing noise. I hunted there many times before and after, and I've never seen anything like this. My best guess is it would be wild hogs, but there shouldn't be any in this area, at least to my knowledge, and they leave obvious signs that I have never seen. The little shapes I saw in the dark, they just vanished without a second when I turned on my light. Thanks for sharing my story if you choose to do so, Swamp Dweller. Much love and keep it up. I would love to know in the comments if anybody has any answers to what this may have been.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another creepy story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube and hit subscribe. Ring that bell on his channel. He's got thousands of stories just like that waiting for you to listen to. It's time for the Cryptid Report. Robin Haynes is back here. And Robin, it is always a great pleasure to have you on this show. How are you, my dear?
I'm good. Happy to be here. It's always fun.
I love it when you're here. And by the way, we should announce to our audience on YouTube, in case they don't know yet, you have added Jackie Harmon to the speaking list at Nebraska Bigfoot Conference.
We have, and I am waiting for her to confirm she wants to come. She's checking to make sure that she's actually going to be available. So we have fingers and toes crossed. And I have to tell you, what a delight. I've only talked to her through text messages, but the energy on her is tremendous. Like, I can see why the Sasquatch like her so much. So I am prayers, fingers crossed, toes crossed, hoping that she is able to get us into her schedule, because we truly would love her to be there. She just is a gem. You were so right about her.
Oh yeah, she's pretty amazing. That I think she'd be a great fit for what's going on.
I do too. Totally sold on her. If she can't come for any reason this year, we definitely want her coming next year. But I'm hopeful that she can this year. She's trying. She is making every effort to.
100%. Well, let's hope that she can make it, because we'd love to see her there as well. Do us a favor before we go any further. Give us the dates for the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference.
Sure. It's April 25th and 26th at Fonner Park in Grand Island, Nebraska. You can go online to Nebraska Bigfoot Conference, and it will have the schedule that's up there. It will also have the movie that we're playing, and it will give you all the information as well as pricing for tickets. If you get them ahead of time online, it usually saves you about $10 at the door, but we do sell tickets at the door as well.
I think it's great. I can't wait to get there.
I know. And you know what we're going to do this year? Christian McLeod suggested we do a roundtable event at the end of the conference. We don't typically do them because everybody is just so exhausted. But I took his advice because he wanted to do one so badly. So at the end of the conference, before we dismiss it on Saturday, all of our speakers are going to be up there so the audience can peck away at them, ask them questions, and anything that hasn't been answered throughout the course of the conference, they can.
Love it. I love it.
Really excited. Yeah.
Yes.
And we've got Tim Kuhnbo Baker's on board with us now too. So we're real excited about that. Yeah, Christian's been on his A game for it this year. He hooked me up with Kuhnbo, and I suggested the round table. I thought about it last year. We didn't do it because there just wasn't time available. But since we've kind of, reworked everything, we have a spot we can do it. So we're going to try it and see how it goes.
I have a secret that you don't know.
Oh, no.
No, it's a good one.
Okay, good. What?
We're going to be starting it either this Sunday or next Sunday. Christian McLeod is going to have a Crypted show on our Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel weekly.
Really? That's fantastic.
We were talking about it, and we talked about it the other night, and he loves the idea. He wants to be a part of it. It adds a little bit more to our programming
Hmm.
on our YouTube channel, and it gives him the exposure that he wants. And I think it's going to be absolutely great.
So that now, what all is he doing? Tell me. I'm excited.
Well, he's going to be hosting it's going to start off 1 hour on Sundays.
Uh-huh.
And then eventually, if it gets some success, he'll extend it to 2 hours. It'll be during the day, like around noon Pacific, 3
Wonderful.
3 p.m.
He's really good. I did a show with him that it was his show, and I was one of the co-hosts on it, and we had so much fun. Like, he's really good. He is really great to speak to the audience. I think you're going to love it.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
It is. It is. So during my interview with Ofer Niv, I got to tell you something. We got into the chat of curses.
Okay.
While he was talking about it, I had a double tap on my window outside.
Oh, wow.
And I'll be honest with you, when stuff like that happens, there's not much that freaks me out. But when I'm doing the show and something taps the window, and it's not the first time, that's probably the 5th or 6th time that's happened well, let's see, I've been in this studio for 9 years.
Well, if you remember when I first met you, like the very first show I did for you, it was at Christmas time, and it was the end of the year one, and all the Cryptid people came on. I was the only female on there. And you had wires by your computer move. And as soon as we went to break, I said something to you because it was one of the Sasquatch. And I said, he's outside a window. Where's this window? And you pulled back your flag, and it was behind the flag. And he tapped then, and he does. There's one that goes out there. I think the tap tonight was probably more of a warning because of what the topic was about. But he's been out there several times.
Oh, it scares the hell out of me when that happens. Probably the creepiest thing that ever happened was before I got my new windows put in, I had a window that kind of opened to a 90-degree angle,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a left-handed type window. So it was good for me because I am left-handed. And I had it open at about a 45-degree angle one night, and just to let some fresh air in, nice warm summer night with a breeze going on. And all of a sudden, I heard something run right underneath it. Now, we don't have, in my area here, I've never seen a rabbit. We don't have skunks. We don't have raccoons. So I don't know whether it was during that time when I was all freaked out about gnomes. And I don't know whether it was a gnome or if it was a fox, or because I knew it wasn't a bear, or it could have been a house cat. Could have been like a stray house cat or something like that. But I don't know what the hell it was, but it scared the daylights out of me.
Knowing the fact that the Sasquatch do come up to your house, and this is that one that, had tapped that first time that I had met you. He was one that he had seen you somewhere that you had been, if I remember correctly, and had followed you back. But he's been back there before. It wouldn't surprise me if it was like a little person.
Could have been.
Because once you get that energy, that high frequency from the cryptids or anything else around you, you'd be amazed at how they flock in.
Yeah, that was totally weird when that happened.
Let the weirdness begin.
That happened. I don't like it when things like that happen. I don't. Probably, though, the creepiest thing that ever happened at this window, in my studio, I don't have any curtains or blinds. I got a giant Canadian flag, okay,
Yeah.
that blocks my window. and it's literally the perfect size for it. And long story short, one night, probably, I'm going to say about 5 years ago now, it looked like somebody was outside my window with a flashlight, like just one of those tiny
Oh,
handheld
wow.
flashlights. And it was going around and around. And
That is
you gotta
creepy.
realize, my neighborhood doesn't have crime. Okay. It doesn't have crime or people snooping around. The reason why is everybody out here has pointy sticks to go bang, bang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And especially when it's nighttime and there's lights on, like in my knock on wood, in my 9 years of living here, okay, I can sleep with my doors unlocked, my windows
hmm
open, my vehicle doors unlocked. It's old school up here.
Yeah.
Okay. If people can remember what that's like, that's kind of where I live. And I live in a very private cul-de-sac in the middle of this forested area. And there's not a lot of foot traffic. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not like a subdivision in a suburb from a big city. It's not like that at all. And so I went back because I thought it was maybe a buddy of mine. I got a buddy who will work the night shift at the local mill, and on
Yeah.
his way home, I was wondering if he was doing it. And so I even texted him during the show. I'm like, "Hey, dude, where are you?" He's like, "I'm still at work." And I'm like, "Why?" I'm like, "Well, what? I thought you might have got off and stopped by." He's like, "Nope, I'm still at work for another hour." Right? And then that same white light started coming through here, and it was an orb.
Yeah. And the other thing too is I literally, in fact, I have a picture where it shows the beam from a craft shining down on my bedroom. My security camera caught it. But I've literally had beams be shot in my window like that. And my daughter one night had red beams like that shot in her window. And I'm not saying that's what happened that night, but I am saying that is something that's possible because they will, from those crafts, they will send the beams right in, and it's like they scan the room. And the other thing too is, this is spaced out radio. You guys aren't talking about baking bread and making cookies. You're talking about the paranormal 7 days a week. And when you talk about those things, because everything's telepathic, everything is done through the consciousness, it's almost like you're calling them in. If you think hard enough about it, they're going to come. If you talk enough about it, they're going to show up. So you may not be ready for it, but they're going to show up one way or another. And that really happens a lot more than people realize. It's just because you think about that kind of stuff, you talk about it on the show, it goes through your consciousness, and everything is linked through the collective consciousness. And they end up showing up. It's just like a beacon for them.
Huh. Freaks me out. Just absolutely freaks
You
me
get
out.
used to it. You get used to it.
No, you don't.
Yes, you
No,
do.
you don't.
You will. And the orbs are the same way. Like I've had them. I was in my kitchen one day and I turned around and there was a white orb and it was like free floating across the dining room. And I was like, okay, whatever. You get used to it. It gets easier. I promise.
All right. I'm going to throw this one at you. Derek says, Dave Scott, you will get visited by Draco reptilians this week. I said, how do you know? And his response was, talk to R. Keith Andrews. He will fill you in. I don't have R. Keith Andrews. Oh, then he says, these are the good ones. I'm going to hit you up on that. Am I getting Draco aliens this week?
I'm not picking it up, but that does not mean that you won't. Okay? I'm not picking, when people say that they pick up things, I never ever say they're wrong, because just because I'm not receiving that message doesn't mean that it's not possible. And as far as the Dracos are the worst of the worst. However, there is good and bad in everything. And I have heard before, and I've been attacked by those things. I ended up in intensive care from those things. So I'm kind of jaded against the Dracos, but I have heard that there are some that are decent, or at least willing to work with us, and get along with us. So I would not knock out the entire race, because there is good and bad in everything. It's like with the Greys and the reptilians. As soon as anybody hears the term gray or reptilian, they automatically think they're horrible. The truth is, there are 1,000 different kinds of Greys, 1,000 different kinds of reptilians, and there are some that are actually quite good. And there are many that have actually helped us. So we have to be realistic and say that regardless of what kind they are, don't judge a book by its cover. And there is good and bad in everything. My experience with the Dracos was not a pleasant one at all. But in that same respect, do I think that there are some that are good? I've heard that there are some that are good. Do I think they want to come over and have dinner and, sing songs with you? No. But I think that they can tolerate us, and we have some kind of copacetic relationship with those particular ones.
All right. We got 2.5 minutes to go before we go to break. At the bottom of the hour, Robin Haynes is our guest tonight. I got into a conversation because I'm going to read this from Creepy Acres. And then this will probably take us to the bottom of the hour. And then I get your response afterwards. It's not about Bigfoot. Let me just read it. So yesterday was the 50 or 49th anniversary of an incident in San Antonio, Texas. 3 teachers from the Southside School District, Patricia, Marcia, and David, were all driving separately along this isolated road after school. Suddenly, a massive shadow falls across their path, and something huge swoops over them. The 3 stop to investigate and spot a massive creature overhead. However, it's not just some oversized bird. Instead, its wings, which span an astonishing 15 to 20 feet, have the structure and appearance of a bat's. The legs are also unbird-like. It seems to glide rather than fly. Soon, the trio notice an identical creature off in the distance, circling a herd of cattle like some kind of monstrous buzzard. Later, Bryant searches the encyclopedia, attempting to identify the avian nightmares that her and her coworkers saw. Disturbingly, the creature that best matches what they witnessed was a pterodactyl.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't know if dinosaurs are still around.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is odd.
Yeah. Some of them are.
You believe that?
Oh, 100%. We had, when I was in Michigan, we saw something in the air. Whether or not that was a pterodactyl, I'm not going to say yes or no. But the thing was massive. Saw it from a distance. It was absolutely massive. I was not the only person that was there. They have had sightings of pterodactyls all over the place. Do I believe they exist? 100%. There are still dinosaurs, not all the dinosaurs, but there are still dinosaurs that are around us. The brontosaurus, they didn't die out either. I mean, go down in your jungles.
Hold right there. We're going to continue the dinosaur talk with Robin Haynes on the Crypted Report right after this.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, Robin, we're clear.
Yeah, what a great topic.
Oh, I love it.
I did too. But the thing that I saw, there was 2 different times. The one time I saw it really clear, and it was just massive. What it was, I don't know. Okay, there's absolutely no bird out there that is that big. I mean, it was absolutely enormous. I think there was like 3 or 4 of us there at the time. And I mean, it was going through the sky. So we didn't see it for very long. The only other time I've ever seen anything like that, it was at such a far distance, I couldn't tell by scale, as far as the size of it. So I didn't put much stock in it because I wasn't close enough to it to actually see it. But they've seen them everywhere. They really have. There's not a whole lot of states that they haven't seen them in. And it's already been proven that some of the dinosaurs are still around. So absolutely believe it. 100%.
Well, we'll get into that here in a couple minutes. Hi, Feisty Kitty. How are you? Feisty says there are tons of pterodactyl sightings in Trout Lake, Washington.
Yeah.
Queen Peachy Keen, how are you? I saw its tracks, Dave, in the North Peace River bottoms down next to the water. VV. Weird.
Yeah, I absolutely 1,000,000% believe that they're still around.
North Peace River. Where the hell is North Peace? Oh, that's in Texas. Oh, wow.
Of course I'm moving to Texas. So being pterodactyls there.
Alien Critter, how you doing? Got your question, Adam? Let me just get some questions tagged here for you. Blue Moon says, Dave, well, you have other things snooping around your neighborhood, apparently. It's just the beginning. Oh, honey, if you knew me all too well. I know you're new around here, but Dave has a lot of weirdo shit happening around here.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And once you start getting it, they all come. And like I said, you're on the show, you're talking about it all the time. It puts it through the collective consciousness. They know that you're aware of them, and then they show up.
I can't say where or how, but I had somebody send me, and the only reason why I say that is because I don't have permission to share it yet.
Yeah.
But I had somebody a couple days ago send me two of the most impressive dogman sighting pictures I've ever seen.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Scared the crap out of me. I don't like dogman. I shouldn't say I don't like dogman. Dogman just scares me.
Mm-hmm.
Just scares me.
We had one of my dearest friends. Him and I, we were out at a park near his home, and we knew there was Sasquatch there. I had been interacting with him there, and we went over by the lake, and I was sitting on a boulder. He took a picture of me, and I kept telling him, there's a dog man here. I can feel it. I can literally feel it, and it's right over in this other area. But you couldn't see anything. And I said, I'm telling you, it's there. It's close. So he took a picture of me. He got home, and you can see everything. I mean, it was just a riot. You can see its face, its ears, its eyes, its snout. And it was just as nice as could be. But he's gotten 2 or 3 pictures of it so far.
We got about 45 seconds. All right, bear with me. And thank you tonight to Richard, Fast Hemi, Human Carl, and Shelly for the great super chats. Always appreciate your love and support. It's a good way to do that. And we'll be coming back in about 10 seconds here. tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, our free archives are always free on every major podcast network and on YouTube. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. Robin Haynes is here, and we are talking pterodactyls. Are they still here? Are they still hanging out with us? Are they still alive? You tend to believe so, Robin.
Absolutely. There's too many sightings of them. There's too much proof that some of the other dinosaurs did not die out. I mean, obviously, we lost most of them. But, you know, if you look down in the rainforest, they have these tribes that are living in the rainforest that don't have access to the outside world. They don't have books. They don't have encyclopedias. There's no TV. There's no radio. But yet they have these crude drawings that look exactly like a brontosaurus. They have found tracks in the mud. You know, they're terrified of this creature that's walking around there. There's some that have gone, you know, underground. Look at the Loch Ness Monster. You can laugh and say the Loch Ness Monster doesn't exist, but it doesn't change the fact that there have been expeditions that are out on boats that have got sonic photos of things in the water that look exactly like a plesiosaurus. You know, they had a woman that they interviewed on TV that actually saw one on land that came out of the water. You know, you can go and say that some people are making it up or, you know, it's not real or whatever. But when you get sighting after sighting, you have to take stock in it and say, okay, these people don't know each other. There's nothing to gain except being targeted and harassed, just like with a Sasquatch. You come forward and say you see Sasquatch and you get attacked. You know, they have nothing to gain except being ridiculed and treated badly. And it doesn't mean that every time somebody says something, it's accurate. But when you get multiple people over and over and over again, you have to kind of take stock and say the possibility is there. You know, look at the alligator. Alligators and crocodiles, my God, how long have they been around? Granted, in the prehistoric times, they had gigantic ones, not this, like what we have now, but they're, you know, they're in line from it. Do I believe in the pterodactyl? I absolutely do. And like I said, I saw that, whatever that was, that day I saw it, and I don't know what it was, but I don't know of any bird that can be that big. And I was not the only one there at the time. What it was, no idea. Do I think there's a chance it could be? I do, just because of the sheer size of it. And there were witnesses besides myself. And there's too many people out there that have seen it, and they've seen it in all over the world. It's not just limited to the United States.
No, and apparently, according to researcher Jonathan Whitcomb, there is a giant triangle that goes from Texas, southeast Texas, over to New Zealand, and up to the British Columbia-Alaska border.
Oh, wow.
And back down, that these pterodactyls called ropin apparently fly.
That's amazing. It really is. I mean, to think that they've survived through everything and are still here. But I do believe that some of our dinosaurs are not gone. I really do. I think it's for us to say that absolutely every single thing was eliminated in the Ice Age. I just don't buy that. You know, things survive. Where there's a will, there's a way. Do I think that most of them got wiped out? Absolutely. I mean, you know, they find the dinosaur bones everywhere. But, you know, it's like the woolly mammoth. They have said for centuries, you know, the woolly mammoth is dead. It's gone. It's actually not. People in Russia, there's a spot, and I don't recall the name of it when I was talked to about it. There's a giant lake there, and there's an island, and there's mountains on this island. And every year when the water freezes, there's a certain time of year, and people have actually seen them trying to cross the ice. I mean, that's, like I said, I don't believe that we can actually say that they're all gone of anything. I think the majority are, yeah, but not all of them, for sure.
All right, let's get to some audience questions here. Jules is asking, do you think Sasquatch are protective of the people they show themselves to?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I know they are. I had one night, my furnace went out, and I think I've talked about this before, and I had to have a furnace man come out. It was dead of winter in Michigan. We had 3 feet of snow. I had small children, and I had to have a furnace man come out at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. He pulled in the driveway, and they're pelting his truck with rocks. They were not going to let him in there. He didn't know what was going on. I ended up going out the front door while my older boy stood on the porch and guided the man in. He didn't know what was going on. The last thing he thought was that, somebody was throwing a rock at him. He couldn't figure out what the dinging off his truck was. I went out the front door, and I'm like standing out at the tree line going, okay, you guys calm down. Like, you have to calm down. And my older son was a teenager, and he's in the house dealing with the furnace guy. And I'm like, you got to keep him busy. They weren't used to having strange people come to my house. I was a single mom. I had my kids and myself there, and they were not tolerating it at all. I ended up standing out in the cold in the middle of the night while the furnace guy worked, because they were screaming, they were hooting and hollering. We had wood knocks going, we had rocks flying. And I'm not the only one they're like that with. I know several instances where they are super protective of the people that they communicate with and have ongoing contact.
Interesting. All right. Let's go to our next question. Let's go to Adam. Have you ever heard of an abduction from a robotic entities?
I have never heard of an abduction as far as one of our people. There is what looks like a Sasquatch, and it's actually robotic. And I've talked to other witnesses that have seen them besides myself. I've never heard of one of our type of human being abducted. I have heard of them taking our Sasquatch. And the Sasquatch have talked about it because they're terrified of them, because basically they take them and then they kill them. And they are soulless. They literally act like they're mechanical. They have no abilities, and they literally look exactly like a Sasquatch. But I've not heard of an abduction of one of our people with them. No. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I just personally have not heard of it.
I think it's the gray. Do you think the grays are robots, or do you think they're biological?
No, they're biological. To my knowledge, they're not at all. I do know some of the robotic ones over in Tennessee going towards Kentucky. There's an area that some of these robotic ones are at, and anybody that has come into that area, they have literally tried to kill. One of my contacts has been out there several times, and they've gone after him. And they are not regular Sasquatch. They are the robotic ones. As far as other robotic entities, I firmly believe that there are. I may not have experienced them, but do I believe that they exist? Yes, I do. From what I've seen, yes.
I haven't dealt with any type of the robotics.
So far, what I know of them are not good. They are not good. I've not seen some of the other robotic ones, but I have contacts that have, and they are not good.
Oh my. What kind of nightmarish stories have you heard about this?
Where they have actually gone after humans. I've not heard that anybody's ever been taken as far as an abduction, but I have talked to people that have said that they have come after them and tried to kill them, that they were very violent, and the Sasquatch talk about them, and they say that they try to capture them to kill them. The area that I'm aware of over towards, and it's in Tennessee, almost to Kentucky. It's not over by Land of the Lakes, but it is right along that border. And the person that I know has done quite a bit of research out there and said that they are deadly. seriously deadly. And we were having a conversation one time, and I can't remember, somebody had asked me about going out to this one area, and I had mentioned it to this person, and they were like, you cannot possibly go there. Like, that's where they are. It is so unsafe. And this person has gone out there several times to do research. He lives in Tennessee, and he's gone out there several times to do research on it. And he said, it's not safe. It is absolutely not safe because these things are unstoppable.
Really? That's creepy.
Yeah, it really is. But I've heard other people that said that they've seen ETs that act robotic in nature. Now, I've not encountered those myself. I've encountered the ones, that are more flesh, and I've encountered the ones that will actually, while they're in the ship, they will send down what looks like a hologram of themselves. Try to do something to them. It's a hologram. You can't stop it. Energy walls, they can go right through. They're a hologram. I've dealt with those kinds of things, but I have not, so far as of yet, I've not dealt with the robotic ET at all. I just know of them.
I want to switch over to Sasquatch here for a second, because you have a lot of people out there who claim, look, man, if you see one, just chase it down, chase it with your camera, get that video. What happens if you chase them down? What do they do?
You're going to
Do
be a dead man is what's going to happen, because they're linked through the collective consciousness. Okay. Number one, they can run so fast, it will make your head spin, literally make your head spin. The strength that they have is unparalleled. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do. And even if you were dumb enough to try to take one down, because they are linked through the collective consciousness, the first time one of their people realizes that they're in trouble, because they're all telepathic and they're hooked through that consciousness, you got the rest of them coming. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people that are researchers may, but that they don't realize, is they believe in their culture and their laws, it's an eye for an eye. So you harass them, you're going to get harassed. You kill one of them and you are never off their radar. And in their culture, it gets transferred down from family member to family member to family member. And they won't necessarily, not that they can't try to go after you to physically harm you. They play mental games. They will mess with your mind. They will mess with your family's mind and anybody that's close to you, because it's an eye for an eye. You took one of their people, that affects the whole clan. It affects the whole collective consciousness. So now they're going to do the same for you. But because the law says, unless they are defending themselves, they are not supposed to kill a human, they will do it with mental games. They will blow up your world. They will blow up your life. And they will play head games with you. You may think you're just having a string of bad luck or you're depressed. No, they will mess with your mind. And I know people that they have done that to. Because you have taken from them, now they're going to return it. Chasing them in the woods for that money shot, for that picture, one, on a good time or a good day where you didn't get hurt doing it, you've just broken that communication with them. Okay? There will never be trust again. You are done. There is no trust. You will have only that bad experience, and you will never have a good experience. A good experience will last you a lifetime of experiences. One bad one, and you're done. You're labeled. And none of them are going to want to deal with you. And the only ones that will are the bad ones that you're really not safe being around. And you go to chase them, and they're going to call in reinforcements. And you can't chase them and catch them. It's not possible. They are too fast. They are too strong. They are too familiar with the turf and the woods and getting where they need to go. It's just, there's nothing about it that is a good idea. Absolutely nothing. When Sadie brought the baby to me and showed me the baby, and she went to leave, I followed her. I didn't chase her. I simply walked behind her, and I followed her for probably 25, 30 feet before she mind spoke. And she said, that's as far as you can go. And I was like, okay. And I stopped. But to actually, try to follow them back to where they live, absolutely not. They're not going to let you go there. If you want to walk and try to follow them, it's iffy, but you might be able to get a little bit farther. But to actually physically chase them is literally one of the dumbest things you could do.
Let's move on. Let's go to another question. Let's go to Vanessa. Can the Dracos be disguised as humans?
I could not tell you 100% yes or no. I know a lot of the ETs can shapeshift. I'm not sure if Dracos can. I would not be surprised. But that I can't answer that yes or no because I don't know. And I've always told you guys, I'll tell you anything that I do know, but I'm not going to make up anything and tell you something if I don't know it. But I will say that 99.999% are able to change their appearance and their looks. I have not heard of a Draco doing it, but that doesn't mean they can't. I believe that they could.
I don't know about that one. I really don't. All right, let's get to another one here. Let's go over to Paramarv, who is asking, I'm in Michigan as well, and I swear we saw one at night through the trees over a river. Huge. We were told it was probably a lake heron. Not sure I buy that. You know, this getting back to the pterodactyl talk.
Yeah. In Michigan, every time there's been a sighting, and there has been a lot of them, a lot of sightings in Michigan. And if you get a hold of DNR or anybody in law enforcement, they will tell you, they're absolutely right. They will tell you it's a lake heron. That's a load of crap. Herons do not get a wingspan of 20 feet. They may get big, but they are not going to get pterodactyl size. There's nothing that gets pterodactyl size except a pterodactyl. So I don't believe it either.
Okay, so if these pterodactyls, getting back to them, are real, what other dinosaurs do you think are out there?
Well, I think that in remote areas, the brontosaurus is still alive. I don't think it's, like in the US or anything like that, but I do believe that just because of what information I had heard before. I think if you go underground, I would really be surprised if you went underground and there were not some sort of dinosaurs down there. We already know that there's ETs underground, various kinds, good and bad. We already know that inside the earth, there are these gigantic chambers where they have moons down there and a sun and lakes. I mean, it's really a whole entire civilization down there. And do I believe that there are dinosaurs down there? I absolutely do. Absolutely do. There are people that work in, secret space programs, Galactic Federation, that kind of thing. They talk about it. If you go on some of their channels. And do I believe there are? I absolutely do. I just do not, in my heart and soul, believe that 100% of all the dinosaurs have been eliminated. I just don't believe it. I think there's so many things that we have not discovered yet on our planet, that there's all kinds of space that hasn't been, gone through yet. And I do believe they're there. Not all of them, but some of them.
We have 2.5 minutes to go here before we go. Do you think then that there are these miniature Tyrannosaurus Rexes and these miniature raptors running around in the state of Texas?
I've heard that. That one I don't know. Texas is a pretty big place, a lot of open space. I don't know about a T-Rex. I'm not going to say no because I don't know. I've not heard any stories about those. The raptors, I have heard about the raptors. And I actually do think that there may be some legitimate truth to that, just from different intel that I've heard. I've not seen one, but different intel that I've heard, I believe that that is possible, yes.
What about big birds? Pterodactyls? It reminds me of thunderbirds.
Well, the Thunderbirds were around for a long time. Sasquatch talks about the Thunderbirds. When they do rock drawings and tree drawings and things like that, they will draw the Thunderbirds. I had a tree that they drew a Thunderbird on. and I've seen it on rocks where they've drawn pictures of thunderbirds on. So do I think they're still around? I think there's an extremely good chance. I have not seen one in real life. That doesn't mean they don't exist. I haven't seen everything. So do I think that there's a possibility? I absolutely do.
So if they are here, I don't buy the Thunderbird, okay, at all. The markings of bird droppings alone
Oh, yeah.
would signify that this creature is not here. I mean, you could paint a house with that thing.
Oh, yeah. But I don't think just because they're here, I don't think there's large numbers of any of these. Now, there's a possibility of the raptors being more so than I think the other ones, but I think it would depend on where they went. Did they go underground? I don't know. But there's enough people that have seen them. There's enough people that have seen the pterodactyls. I've only heard of a few sightings of the Thunderbird. I love it. Make pterodactyl great again. Yeah. Just what we need.
We got to wrap it up on that note. I apologize. Say goodnight to Robin. Hello to Mr. Ron Bumblewood Paul. Rocking in the background with little brothers watching. Bumblewood is the Spaced Out Radio. Rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friend,
make a mistake. We're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, you've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Robin, you are amazing once again. Thank you.
Thanks, sweetie. I love it here.
We know you do. We love you here too.
I will talk to you later, my friend.
All right, take care, my friend.
Take care, babe. Bye.
Good night. Robin Haynes, everybody. How awesome is she? Okay, seriously, what the hell is going on in the chat room? And then to say it's not political. Paul, you know better than that. You know better. People, I seriously mean it. Okay? I seriously mean it. And I'm not trying to be an asshole here, okay? Totally not. Because I like to have fun. I like you guys having fun. Crap like that isn't in our chat room. All right? It never has been. It never will be. Come here to have fun. If you don't want to have fun or you want to stir it up, take it out to the next chat room, man. Seriously. And by the way, it isn't just a reminder for people who get worked up. This chat room isn't free speech. It's a Daveocracy. And if you want to call me a real prick, it's Davianism. It really is. Okay? Give it a break. It's like taking your shoes off at the door, man. Leave the political bullshit at the door. Feb 25. Oh. Philip Miller, how are you? I don't know where she saw hers. Paul, you're being an asshole now. Okay? I'm not, you're a long-time listener. Let's not do this. You're not going to all of a sudden turn into a prick and a half here, okay? You're not. So let it go. We know your political stance on it. Many people in the chat room will agree with you. Many will not. I don't care either way. We're not doing it here. It's my rules, not yours. Okay, so whatever you're drinking, whatever you're smoking tonight that's got you all fired up, I suggest that you find a pillow, you find a bed on your couch, and you take your fingers off of your phone and you go relax a little bit. You're fired up in the wrong area, dude. Fired up. And to be honest with you, if you remember my conversation back in October, I love you. I love everybody in this chat room, but I have zero fucks to give to anything that caused me stress or anxiety. And stirring it up in my chat room causes me stress. So you have a choice. That's your final warning. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. That's what pisses me off. I don't get it. Thank you, Cake. Sweet Tony D, how are you? Tony, no offense, absolutely not. This is all about woo. That's what the other show is for. That does midnight, and then I'll just end up feeling horrible because I'm fat. That's the truth of it all, man. I'm just gonna end up feeling horrible because I'm fat. Oh yeah. I'm on day 3 without caffeine right now. Day 3. I finally got over the shakes of it all. Which one did you write down, Adam? Look, we're all politically charged right now. You know, we all are. If you guys knew how much I loved politics and everything like that, I could totally do a political show. I totally could. Right? But I don't. This is not the place nor the area. Deborah Rudy! There she is. Look at that. Just sneaking in at the edge of time right there. I'm surprised, though, because it's really weird because you get these people, a lot of these people where all of a sudden they just trip, man. And then they won't come in the chat room for like weeks or months or sometimes years. Uh-huh. Little Debbie Pickle Toes is here. That's what she likes to be called, Little Debbie Pickle Toes. Why would you want to fight me verbally? Little Debbie Pickle Toes. Yeah. Because I have skills. I had pickles for lunch. I had a couple pickles. I like pickles. I don't like them on hamburgers, but I like pickles. What do you want to debate? Oh, God. Okay, pickles on hamburgers. No, they take away. It's the same thing. Pickles, too much ketchup and too much mustard ruin a hamburger. Totally ruin a hamburger. Emperor Penguin, how you doing? You're not blocked, Emperor. You're not blocked. Why would you be blocked? Who the hell is blocking people? Oh, there's sweet Robbie G. He had an absinthe weekend in Vegas on Sunday. David Stein, how are you? Rashid, how you doing? No, I didn't block him. I didn't block Paul Demon at all. I just wanted to verbally give it to him. He chose not to come back. I just kept blanking his comment. I did time him out. He was begging for it, so I gave him his wish. I didn't block him. I timed him out. He could come right back in right now if he wanted. Cake in a Cup probably thinks soccer is a good sport. Yeah, I'll stir it up with you. I'm feeling feisty now. Vanessa, you have had a ton of warnings in the past. See, now that's just stirring things up that's going to piss me off. Don't piss me off. I'm in no mood to be pissed off, and my high blood pressure is already high enough as it is. I've heard of the Crack Shack, Robbie. I heard that's phenomenal. Bet you didn't go to Taco Bell, though, did you? Since you're on the strip. Okay, Paul, you're being an asshole again. So we're going to time you out. Okay, you got to stop sniffing the glue, okay? Keep your shit elsewhere. I don't care. I don't care. The only reason why I haven't banned you because of it, because I have 0 fucks to give, is because I am tired of, I'm trying to give you a chance here because I like you. Okay? Okay? I'm pretty sure if you go into the medicine cabinet, there's some Ritalin there for you. I mean, you'd swear this guy stepped in a pile of dog shit earlier, and that's what he's all pissed off about. Now he's taking it out on kneecaps. This chat room, it's irrelevant whether you like him or not. It's irrelevant. There are about 1,862 other chat rooms you could go in, okay, to talk about that. But now I got to verbally get you back. Okay, because I know what people like him do, or people who I call out and then they leave do, because I get blamed for everything. Somebody farts in the chat room. Rob's seen it. Rob can attest to this. Somebody farts in the chat room the wrong way. I'm never coming back to this show. That's insultive. That's this. That's that. Right? It's like anybody ever wonder about why? What's his name? What's his name? He was here every night, donated like 3 times a night. Why he left? Because he got pissed off in the chat room and blamed me for it, that I wasn't doing anything about it. Right? And I'm like, I didn't even know what happened. But I continually get blamed for this stuff. And then when I lay down the rules, okay, to keep the political shit out of here, it's real easy. Okay? Just keep the political shit out of here. Yeah, T-Bone. Okay? It's my fault. Everything's my fault. So, if everything is my fault, okay, which I'm okay with, because it's my room, all right? If everything is my fault, you're going to play by my rules. Like I said, 0 fucks to give. Not trying to be rude. Don't have time for the stress and drama. Earth Goat Trees, how are you? Well, I'm not going to beg people. There are channels out there that beg for donations and beg for this, beg for that. Not me, man. When have I begged? It's all up to you guys. Guess what? If I got 0 super chats, guess where I would be? I'd still be here for you. So I appreciate the love. Thank you. Remember, don't give it more than 3 shakes if you're pissing yourself there, cake in a cup. I mean, and I appreciate that, Adam, but here's the thing. You're kind of new, so it's cool. It's very cool. Here's the thing, man. You guys from all of us, myself included, we literally, from the time we wake up until the time we go to bed at night, we are hammered with politics. Okay? In this room, I don't care if you love Trump. I don't care if you hate Trump. My opinion of him does not matter. I don't care if you love Trudeau or hate Trudeau. But if you love Trudeau, well, then, you and I may get into it then. But I don't care about religion, what religion you are, what race you are, what sexuality you are, because you know what? The aliens don't care. Sasquatch doesn't care. The ghosts don't care. And if all of our topics of love around here don't care, then I don't care. And for this 3-hour plus block a night, we're allowed to turn it off and get away from the bullshit that just absolutely hammers us every day, man. That's it. That's all I want. Okay? I've banned people from this room recently that I like because I just don't want bullshit. I have no time for bullshit anymore. Unless it's a hockey game and Canada beats the United States. Right? Just tired of it. We have people from all over the world who come in and listen to us. South America, North America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, every continent except Antarctica. We've had in here. Why? Because we all have it in common that we love the woo. We do. We have that all in common. And that is what is really clear. Right? And you know what? Something you might not know about me, because I haven't said this in a long time. The old school listeners will know. And I'm going to speak for Rob G here too. Okay? I'm going to speak for him here for a second. Because I know the kind of guy he is and the kind of guy I am. When we say in the chat room, how you doing? We actually do mean that. It's not small talk, which is, oh, hey, how you doing? Because you just want to have an acknowledgement of something. When we say, how you doing? We actually do care. All right? We do care. Right? That's what it's all about, man. Vanessa, you're moving up from about a 5 to an 8. I need you back down to a 5, okay? No chat room is perfect. I go into chat rooms, guys, and the hosts don't even acknowledge you. Even if you donate, they don't even acknowledge it. Seen it happen. Who's on tomorrow night? Let me check. Winnie Schrader is here. We're going to talk about the JFK files. That'll be fun. That will be loads of fun. We'll get into that. All right. On that note, thank you, everyone. Cake and a Cup with a hat trick. Human Carl, Shelley, Deborah Rooney, Fast Hemi, and Richard for the super chats. Greatly appreciate the love and support. We'll see you all tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. If you're new here, thank you for listening. Do us a favor. Ring that bell. I'm usually not this cranky. I'm usually not. But we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.